Welcome back to the Anger Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So Jay, we had not done a video on this. I know a lot of people were in the comment section on other videos for whatever reason wanting to talk about Terence Crawford. But we decided to wait till the announcement was official. Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov, as well as a very stacked card. We have Andy Ruiz versus Big Baby Miller, Rayo versus Pitbull Cruz. And there's a number of other fights, and there's potential supposedly of Virgil Ortiz versus Tim Tszyu. So really stacked card, Jay, with names, if you will. But of course, headline is Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov. Now, this is Terence Crawford's first foray into the 154-pound division. And, he has an opportunity not only to win the WBO title, but the WBA as well. So the WBO is making this an interim title fight, which absolutely makes no sense since Madrimov is not even ranked in their division, in their rankings. But for whatever reason, they're doing it. I assume to appease Terence Crawford. And then what they're doing is then when Fundora comes back, if Terence Crawford is successful in his fight against Israil Madrimov, then Fundora will be next for Terence Crawford. If he doesn't fight him, then Terence Crawford will become the actual WBO champion. Right now, I believe he'll just be the interim. Yeah, correct. Email, because that's what they basically said about Jaron Ennis when he became the IBF champion. But it is what it is. But Terence Crawford is definitely being positioned because if he does win this fight and he does get the Fundora fight and he can win both fights, he'll have 3 of the 4 titles immediately. And then there's been speculation, rumored that Jaron Ennis will try to move up and win the IBF title. And we know His Excellency will be interested in making a Jaron Bruce Ennis versus Terence Crawford fight. So with that being said, we've heard Terence Crawford mention pay him for the fight. So it seems like he's be willing, Turkey would be willing to pay him for the fight. So apparently that fight could potentially happen. So we'll see what ends up happening. Jay, are you excited about this card? I mean, I feel that it's and we have people on the Discord that feel like this card is incredible. I feel like the card is nice. Now, when they add Virgil Ortiz, the card is going to be even nicer because you guys know Virgil Ortiz is one of my favorite fighters, if not my favorite fighter. So
he can't be your favorite fighter. He's never mind. I won't go there.
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, how do you feel about the card?
I mean, the card, like to your point, the card got names. They got David Morrell on there.
David Morrell.
Yeah, David Morrell's on there. They have Ryu, Pitbull, you already mentioned.
I missed David Morrell. I missed that. Who is David Morrell fighting?
Yeah. Forget who he's fighting. I forgot the guy's name.
Okay.
It's not someone I'm very familiar with. And I watch a lot of boxing. Of boxing. I'm not really familiar with this guy.
Okay.
On that. But David Morrell, who else is on there? Ryu, Pitbull. I don't care about Andy Ruiz versus Jarrell Miller. I don't really care about that. I'm intrigued to see. I'm happy Andy Cruz is on there because he's a good up and coming fighter. Well, I'm glad to see him on there. But as far as like matchups, 50-50 matchups, it's really not many of those on there. It reminds me a little bit of the card for Canelo's card. It has some names on there. Canelo's fighting Munguia. No one asked for that fight necessarily. People watch it. You have Stanionis and you have Barrios. So you have names on there. This fight card here, you have Bud versus a guy that got 10 fights, Madrimov. You have Pitbull Cruz and Rayo, which is good, 2 very good fighters. Pitbull has a nice following now, which was very smart for them to add Pitbull to this card because Pitbull has a good following, especially after he destroyed Froley. Rayo seemed like he's up and up after what he did to Chris Colbert. Now, mind you, Rayo was coming up from 135 to 140. Pitbull came up from 135 to 140 just one fight ago. So it'll be interesting how that fight goes out. Again, the 2 heavyweights, they're just throwing them in there just cause. David Morrell, again, I can't remember who he's fighting. And then, like you said, it'll be a nice card, especially if Virgil Ortiz versus Tim Tszyu is on this card here. It just depends on contingent on Virgil Ortiz winning his next fight, his upcoming fight. So I'm okay with the card, but for people making it sound, oh, this is the best card ever. Oh my gosh. Just pump the brakes a little bit. It's a decent card. We're going to watch it, yes. It's better than the card that just happened this past weekend. As far as as far as names goes on there, but it's not the best card ever. Chill with that for now.
It's a good card. I always, to me, for it to be an outstanding card, the main event has to be outstanding. And with Terence Crawford versus Israil Madrimov, with no one really knowing much about Madrimov, and I had the opportunity to watch a few of Madrimov fights. I've been looking at him to see if he has a chance. Um, and stylistically, I thought maybe he might be able to do something. I mean, if he can push Terence Crawford back, maybe he would be able to do something. I struggle to see how he's going to be successful in this fight right now. I like to see fighters stand next to each other, Jay. Crawford seems to be maybe a half inch taller than Madrimov.
Oh yeah.
Madrimov, and it was interesting because Eddie Hearns mentioned that somebody like Madrimov would be a big guy like Madrimov. Like Terence Crawford look just the same size as Madrimov. Like I
Yeah.
don't see any difference in their size. With Crawford being a little bit taller and having a little bit more of a reach, as far as I can see. So, I mean, that's typically been the MO as it relates to Terence Crawford. It's just fighters that I don't know if you want to call him small for the weight class. I don't know, but he just seems to always have an attribute advantage over fighters, height wise or reach wise. He seems to always have that, and I think he's going to have that advantage in this fight as well. Madrimov, a lot of people like to point at the fact that he has a really deep amateur pedigree, and that's all well and dandy. But I'm going to take words from Robert Garcia that I heard here recently, Jay, where he mentioned that amateur boxing and professional boxing are damn near a different sport. And he was talking about this specifically with the Devin Haney fight. So coming to me and talking to me about Madrimov and what he did as an amateur really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because he's a pro now, and the pros are different. So we'll see what he does. He has a little bit of pop, a little bit.
Yeah.
He's not a massive puncher, but he's slow footed. He has a very European style. It looks like a great value version of Triple G.
Little
If
G.
I had, yeah. So, but just I don't think he's as good. So, we'll see what happens. Anything
Yeah.
else you want to
I
share?
mean, with this fight here, folks. Now it's bad when people are trying to talk about his amateur career. They're trying to sell this fight. Kind of annoyed me. They say, "Oh, he's the best 154 pound." No, he's not. If Tim Tszyu was on this card in August, Tim Tszyu is a better fight, even with the loss of Fundora. So I'm like, he's not the best 154 pound in the world right now. That's Tim Tszyu or Fundora. Fundora got the win against Tim Tszyu, although we know that cut definitely impacted that fight. But one of those two are the best at 154. It's not Madrimov. Well, how do we pronounce the dude's name? Israel. I call him Israel by his first name. So, I mean, they're really trying to sell a fight on that, and people are grasping for straws. Say, well, he has an excellent amateur fighting. No one cares about that. To your point, even Floyd was talking about Devin Haney. Devin Haney was fighting like he was an amateur with his jab. It's not turning over the proper way. You don't do that in the pros. That's why a lot of amateurs, even Olympians, they don't always pan out in the pros because it's a different beast over there.
Yep. You guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to this fight. It's great to have all these boxers
Yeah.
active, and I'm definitely excited to see the fight. And we'll see how competitive the fights are on Fight Night. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to hit, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media, and we are out.